Introduction. The key is command. This book is not a promise that semen retention alone will make money appear, heal every wound, or turn a man into a master without action. That kind of claim is weak. It makes the discipline look childish. Retention is not a lottery ticket. It is a key. A key does not build the house by itself, but it gives the rightful owner access to rooms he could not enter while he was scattered, tired, compulsive, and ruled by appetite. The deeper teaching of semen retention is not merely physical, it is architectural. A man learns to stop leaking attention. He learns to stop obeying every impulse that passes through his nervous system. He learns to hold charge. He learns to choose a state and remain faithful to it, while the senses suggest another story. This is why retention has always been associated with monks, warriors, mystics, inventors, and serious builders. It trains the faculty that every form of creation requires: command. Manifesting wonders is not about begging the universe for gifts. It is about becoming the kind of inner authority through whom higher order can express. Your imagination is the projector, your feeling is the voltage, your attention is the lens, and your body is the temple that must carry the current. When the projector is dirty, the lens is shaking, and the current is spilled every day, the picture of your life becomes weak and inconsistent. When the instrument is purified, organized, and directed, the picture becomes sharper. This manual is written for the man who does not want to be a slave to urges, fear, shame, entertainment, old identities, or temporary facts. It is for the man who wants to walk like a monk, think like an architect, and build like a king. It is for the man who understands that private discipline creates public destiny. You do not have to become perfect before your life changes. You have to become honest. You have to admit where power leaves you. You have to stop making a religion out of weakness. You have to learn how to preserve your force, transmute your heat, imagine from the end, and take clean action from the state of the fulfilled man. The wonder is not that life changes. The wonder is that the whole world can begin to reflect a different man once the man refuses to abandon himself. How to use this book: read one chapter at a time. Do the practice before moving on. This is not entertainment. It is a manual for inner command. Chapter 1. The key is not seed alone. The first wonder is the man who can command himself. There is a dangerous misunderstanding around semen retention. Some men reduce the whole path to counting days. They speak as if day 7, day 30, or day 90 is a magic number that automatically unlocks power. Counting can help in the beginning, but counting is not mastery. A prisoner can count the days on the wall and still remain a prisoner. The point of retention is not to worship the calendar. The point is to recover the throne of your own attention. Semen retention becomes powerful when it exposes the places where you are not free. The urge rises, and suddenly the mind becomes a lawyer. It brings arguments, memories, fantasies, complaints, excuses, and promises. It says, just this once. It says, you deserve relief. It says, nothing is happening anyway. In that moment you meet the real enemy, not desire, but unconscious obedience. The key is not seed alone. The key is sovereignty. Retention asks a simple question. Can you remain loyal to your chosen future, while the body presents an immediate demand? If you can, you are training the same muscle required to build wealth, finish a book, launch a company, heal your identity, lead a family, and remain steady during a storm. Retention is not the refusal of life, it is the refusal to waste life. The difference between suppression and transmutation: suppression says, I am afraid of this energy. Transmutation says, I will govern this energy. Suppression is tense, ashamed, and secretive. Transmutation is awake, deliberate, and creative. The Grand Master does not hate desire. He understands desire as raw power that has not yet been given a noble form. When the force rises, the amateur tries to escape it. The addict spends it. The ashamed man buries it. The disciplined man breathes, watches, and redirects. He sends it into prayer, work, training, vision, service, study, or silence. He does not treat the energy as an enemy. He treats it as fire. Fire can burn down a house, or it can forge a sword. This is where manifestation enters. You cannot manifest consistently while you are secretly divided. If one part of you declares wealth, authority, love, health, and greatness, while another part is addicted to private collapse, the signal becomes unstable. Retention trains the signal to become one thing. Grandmaster rule: do not ask how many days you have retained. Ask how much of your attention you have reclaimed. Your first practice for the next 7 days: do not try to prove anything. Watch. Notice the moments when you reach for escape. Notice the time of day. Notice the emotion underneath. Notice whether the urge comes from boredom, pressure, loneliness, resentment, fatigue, or old programming. The point is not to shame yourself. The point is to find the leak. Every leak has a doorway. Behind the doorway is a belief. Behind the belief is an identity. Behind the identity is a state. Retention gives you the chance to stand at the doorway and say, I do not live there anymore. Chapter 2: The Monk, the King, and the Grand Master. A monk guards the temple. A king commands the realm. A Grand Master unites both. Most men swing between extremes. One extreme is indulgence. Chase pleasure, spend energy, obey the senses, and call it freedom. The other extreme is dry repression, reject the body, fear desire, and call it spirituality. Neither path creates the complete man. The complete man carries the silence of a monk and the authority of a king. The monk understands purity. He knows that not every thought deserves a room in the mind. He knows that appetite can become a tyrant if it is fed without wisdom. He values solitude, devotion, order, and inner listening. Without the monk, the king becomes corrupt. The king understands command. He does not hide from the marketplace. He builds, decides, protects, provides, and takes territory. He acts in the world without being owned by the world. Without the king, the monk can become passive, detached, and afraid of responsibility. The Grand Master is the union. He can sit in stillness, then rise and move with precision. He can feel desire without worshipping it. He can imagine a higher reality without neglecting the duties of the day. He can walk through pressure without letting pressure name him. The inner posture before you can manifest wonders. You must choose the posture from which you live. The weak posture says, the world decides what I am. The reactive posture says, my feelings decide what I do. The master posture says, I decide the state I occupy, then my thoughts, feelings, actions and circumstances must organize around that authority. This does not mean denying facts. It means refusing to make temporary facts your God. A bank balance is information. It is not identity. A failed relationship is information. It is not destiny. A business setback is information. It is not your final name. The Grand Master reads the world, but he does not kneel to it. The senses report conditions. Imagination announces rank. The 3 seats of power: Thebody seat, discipline, sleep, nutrition, training, sexual restraint, breath, posture, and stillness. The attention seat, what you watch, repeat, imagine, fear, desire, and rehearse. The identity seat, the assumption from which you say I am before the world agrees. Semen retention belongs to the body seat, but it quickly affects the other seats. When you stop compulsive release, the mind becomes louder at first. Old emotions rise because the usual escape has been removed. This is not a failure. It is the temple being cleared. Stay with it. A man cannot become a Grand Master while every discomfort sends him running. Identity command before sleep. Say slowly, I am not a slave to appetite. I am the keeper of the temple, the ruler of the realm, and the architect of the future. Chapter 3: Conservation. Stop leaking your future. What you cannot conserve, you cannot direct. A man leaks power in more ways than one. He leaks through constant scrolling. He leaks through arguments that do not matter. He leaks through fantasy without execution. He leaks through lust, complaint, gossip, comparison, poor sleep, overeating, avoidance, and unfinished promises. Semen retention is powerful because it teaches the principle of conservation in a place where most men are most unconscious. Conservation does not mean hoarding energy in fear. It means refusing to scatter the force needed for creation. Every major result requires stored intensity. A business needs capital. A body needs recovery. A mind needs deep focus. A spiritual life needs reverence. A manifestation needs emotional conviction. Nothing great is built by a man who spends his charge on every passing impulse. The culture trains men to believe that relief is the same as freedom. But relief is often only the pause before the same emptiness returns. True freedom is the ability to feel pressure without surrendering your command. True freedom is being able to choose the higher act when the lower act is available. The 4 main leaks. 1. Lust without love or purpose. The use of imagination to weaken the will instead of strengthen the vision. 2. Fear rehearsal. Silently living in unwanted outcomes until the body begins to believe them. 3. Unfinished cycles, promises, ideas, and tasks that remain open and drain attention. 4. Identity contradiction. Claiming greatness while privately practicing helplessness. When you identify a leak, do not become dramatic. Close it. If lust is the leak, remove triggers and redirect the heat. If fear is the leak, revise the scene and rehearse the fulfilled outcome. If unfinished tasks are the leak, choose one and complete it. If identity contradiction is the leak, stop saying things about yourself that belong to the old man. The Grand Master is not successful because he has no pressure. He is successful because pressure no longer gets to spend his life without permission. Every leak is a vote for the old identity. The conservation audit tonight. Write 3 columns on paper. In the first column write, where does my force leave me? In the second column write, what feeling am I trying not to feel? In the third column write, what higher action will receive that force from now on? This is simple, but simple is not weak. A man changes when he stops keeping vague problems in the dark. The purpose of this audit is not guilt. Guilt wastes energy too. The purpose ownership. Once you see the leak, you have the beginning of command. Practice for 24 hours. Do not complain out loud. When complaint rises, translate it into command. This is what I choose. This is the next clean action. Chapter 4 Transmutation. Turning heat into command. Raw energy becomes destiny only after it receives direction. Transmutation is the art of changing the form of a force without losing its intensity. A man feels sexual heat, ambition, frustration, hunger, anger, or longing. The untrained man spends it, fights it, or numbs it. The trained man lifts it. To lift energy means to give it a higher assignment. You do not merely distract yourself from desire. You appoint the desire to serve creation. You take the pressure in the body and move it into a chapter written. A sales call made, a workout completed, a prayer deepened, a strategy clarified, a room cleaned, a debt confronted, a vision rehearsed. This is not symbolic, it is practical. Energy that is not directed will seek the easiest exit. Many men fail retention because they try to retain without creating. They close the lower door but never open the higher door. Eventually pressure builds and the old door becomes attractive again. The solution is not less energy. The solution is better channels. The 3-minute lift. When the urge rises, stand up if you can. Straighten the spine. Breathe through the nose. Place attention at the base of the body, then slowly draw attention up the center line of the torso to the heart, throat, forehead, and crown. Do not force. Imagine the energy becoming light, clarity, courage, and command. Then immediately perform one clean action connected to your future. The action matters. Without action, the ritual can become fantasy. Make a call, write a page, do push-ups, read a hard paragraph, clean your desk. Send the proposal, open the spreadsheet, pray with authority. The body must learn that rising energy means rising responsibility. Do not waste the fire because you are afraid of the forge. The Grand Master channels channelone, physical training. Move the body so the energy has a strong vessel. Channel 2. Focused work. Give the mind one task and finish it before seeking stimulation. Channel 3. Imaginal command. Enter the fulfilled state and feel the end as already real. Channel 4. Service. Use your strength to protect, teach, build, or provide. Channel 5. Silence. Let the force mature without immediately converting it into noise. Transmutation is learned through repetition. At first, the old pattern may feel stronger. That is normal. You are not only changing behavior, you are changing the nervous system's expectation of relief. Stay steady. Every successful redirect teaches the body that it can survive intensity without collapse. Emergency command when heat rises. Breathe, lift, name the future, and take one clean action within 60 seconds. Chapter 5. Imagination. The high-powered projector. The outer world is the shadow. Imagination is the object that casts it. Semen retention without imagination can become pride. Imagination without discipline can become daydreaming. Together they become a serious path. Retention stores and purifies the charge. Imagination gives the charge an image. Feeling gives the image life. Action gives the image a path through the world. Neville Goddard taught that imagination is the true creative power of man. Whether one reads this as mystical law, psychological truth, or both, the practical implication is undeniable. The scenes you accept inwardly begin to organize your perception, emotion, decisions, and persistence. A man who rehearses defeat will notice defeat, expect defeat, and act from defeat. A man who rehearses authority will begin to see options that the defeated state could not perceive. Manifesting wonders is not about forcing the world to obey a desperate wish. It is about occupying the state of the man for whom the desired thing is natural. Retention supports this because it gives weight to the inner act. The mind becomes less cheap. The feeling becomes less scattered. The chosen scene begins to carry authority. The state comes first. A state is not a mood. A state is an inner location. It includes identity, expectation, posture, thought, emotion, and available action. When you are in the state of lack, even opportunity can look suspicious. When you are in the state of authority, even pressure can become raw material. The work is to enter the state before the evidence appears. This is where most people fail. They wait for proof, then they will believe. The architect believes, then uses proof as a late confirmation. He does not need the 3D world to bless his inner rank. He wears the rank inwardly until the world has no choice but to reflect the reorganization. You are not trying to become the man. You are practicing being him until practice becomes nature. The projector exercise 1. Choose one completed scene that implies your desired reality is already true. 2. Make it short. 5 to 10 seconds is enough. 3. Feel it from the first-person point of view, not as a spectator. 4. Add one emotional detail, relief, gratitude, command, peace, or certainty. 5. Repeat until the scene feels familiar. Then carry that familiarity into the day. Do not create a scene to impress your ego. Create a scene that would be natural if the desire were fulfilled. A handshake after the deal closes. Your phone showing the paid balance. A loved one saying, "I knew you would do it." Sitting quietly in your finished home. Closing your laptop after the account is funded. The scene must imply completion. Key sentence: I do not chase shadows. I design the object. Chapter 6. Sats. The 5-second wonder loop. Sleep is the gate where the old man can be dismissed and the new man installed. State akin to sleep, often called sats, is the drowsy borderland where the logical guard relaxes and the subconscious becomes more impressionable. This is not superstition. Everyone knows that the mind is different before sleep. Images feel stronger. Emotions sink deeper. Repetition becomes more powerful. The question is whether you use that gate consciously or let fear, memory, and random stimulation use it for you. The 5-second wonder loop is a simple imaginal act repeated in drowsiness. You do not need a long movie. In fact, long scenes often become weak because the mind wanders. You need one short scene that implies the wish fulfilled. You enter it, feel it, repeat it, and fall asleep from it if possible. For a man practicing retention, SATS becomes especially important because the stored energy must receive a nightly command. If the body is charged, but the mind sleeps in anxiety, the charge feeds anxiety. If the body is charged, and the mind sleeps in fulfillment, the charge feeds the new state. How to build the loop. 1. Name the end. What would be true if the wonder had already happened? 2. Choose the proof. What tiny scene proves it without explanation? 3. Shorten the scene. Reduce it to 5 seconds. 4. Enter the body. See from your eyes, hear from your ears, feel from your hands. 5. Repeat gently, do not strain. Let the scene become normal. A man seeking financial relief might imagine opening his banking app and calmly seeing the number that proves safety. A man seeking business success might imagine a client saying, "We are ready to move forward." A man seeking discipline might imagine waking before dawn with energy and certainty. A man seeking healing in identity might imagine looking in the mirror and feeling clean respect for himself. The scene should not feel like begging. It should feel like memory. That is the secret. You are not trying to convince a distant power. You are installing the inner fact. Fall asleep as the man who already received the answer. The nightly seal before SATS. Forgive the day. You may have made mistakes. You may have felt weak. You may have faced facts that challenge the state. Do not drag the whole day into sleep. Revise what needs revision, bless what needs release, and return to the chosen end. The last feeling before sleep is a seed. Plant deliberately. Night command. I enter the end. I feel it as done. I sleep as the fulfilled man.